Made some easy trades, very easy trades, and uh, pretty much the whole day was predictable. But some trades did not go uh, exactly as planned as soon as I put them on. But for otherwise, majority of the day was pretty much it did what we were expecting it to do. So Apple, this is the one that even yesterday we were looking for a test of this 175.42, and that thing broke below that and pushed down. So this is the reason SPY or SPX actually pushed down below here. And let's see if there are similarities. And yes, there are similarities. This is what was supposed to happen, and this was the base case. Five, a touch of five, then that broke, came right back down to its 20, oh sorry, 100. 100 broke, then hit the 8, and it stopped right about there. So tomorrow, the expectation is that it will hit that and probably bounce around 45, 42. And if it bounces hard, then it will clear this number and push into 45.65. That's to the upside. And if it pushes to the downside, this is where it is going first, 45.10. That breaks, it will need to go back to its 200 of 44.84. Right, so this is how it's gonna work out tomorrow. And so let's see if we can have SPY in the mix. So exactly here, then if Apple pushes down below here to its 8, which is about 173.50, if this happens, then most likely we will see SPX come back down to its 200, and that means SPY tomorrow for 47. So about a good 4 points down on SPY. So to the upside, SPY right now about here. So to the upside, the base case would be 453.20. If that clears, 454, and it should get pushed down from there. The downside, the base case for SPY is 451, and if that breaks, it will push down to about here, 447.20.
Hey, Garth, can you mute Chris Banksies? There you go.
Cool. So there. My expectation was for it to hit 175.40 and test push above. Well, that did happen, but then after that it came down. So this was one good trade, and then SPX obviously was another good trade, and SPY obviously related trade to that. Now let's go into uh, the trade, and which one was that? What was I looking for? So X and SMH, and then NVIDIA. NVIDIA short. This is the reason I was short NVIDIA, looking for this 277 or something here, then a push down on NVIDIA. So I couldn't catch all of this to the downside, but I was a part of this. I think from 275 somewhere around to I think 276 somewhere around to 274. So this is somewhere around this number. I was short Nvidia. I couldn't catch the whole damn move here, and it stopped here to a T, And tomorrow, the expectation from NVIDIA is to push up a little bit. Then after that, hit a bounce, maybe on a smaller, maybe on a lower time frame. It will hit a resistance and then push down. If it breaks below here, and then we're looking for a test of this 271.49. If that breaks, we're looking for it to push down to this doji somewhere around here, somewhere somewhere around here, 263. So that means SMH has to come down to its 21, and should be a bounce around here, 267, somewhere around here. It should bounce. So that means the socks will need to come back down to 34.16. And should the selling pressure increase, which most likely it will, and then it will go back to test its 50, 33.99. So that means NVIDIA, this will have to push down around 263 or somewhere around this. So I think we'll get a good picture in the week. This is where NVIDIA is headed, right around here. 268.88 or 269, somewhere around. This is where NVIDIA is headed. If NVIDIA breaks there, then this is where it is going. I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow itself, push down to 257 or whatnot. So first, I think the mean here will come back to its mean and test its mean. And then if the mean breaks, then we'll reassess the situation there. And the other trade was this other one. The one was AMD. That was the one, right? So I was looking for puts right at the open. We got that pushed down to, I think I was looking for 117, somewhere around here. Should be more clear. I think this should be more clear. Oh, it actually ran up during the last. I thought it's not gonna go beyond that, but it did. Oh, AMD. So AMD, 8 below 21 happened here. So I was looking for puts right at the open. We got involved around here, and the expectation was to hit this number, 1, 1, 2, 50, 60, whatever this number is. So why do I keep saying whatever the number is? Because I don't really care for the number as much. I care for this line. Or if you go on the daily, AMD, this is the line that was significant here, right? So when this started to push down, we were looking for this to come back and test this number, and then it kind of bounced around there, and that's the bounce we caught right about here. And then after that bounce, it was a push down time. I did not partake in that push down after that, but I played it to the downside first, and it hit there and it pushed up. And let's see, AMD on a lower time frame. And AMD is going into a squeeze right now. And this is how I was trading AMD. Right about here, it hit that mean. And this is how you can be very certain of these trades. So you can take big positions when these kind of confluence happens. So it was a mean on the daily. We know it was going to hit that and it was going to push up. If you had not taken this trade to the downside, which was a clearer trade to the downside, if you did not take that trade, then you should have taken this bounce trade right about here. So it hit that 200 day right here around 10. And let's see what happened around 10. It bounced all the way till 11, 114 something. I got out the moment it started to push down. So that was a nice $2 trade to the upside. It was pretty much given trade. And then a push down happened. I did not partake in this all the while, but then when it was starting to, I think it was trying to get here, 110 somewhere around here, and I went long AMD around here as a hedge when I was shorting Nvidia. So why did I go long there? Because of this line, right? It was hitting this line, so that was the reason I went long there as a hedge against my Nvidia short. So that was the play there. Nvidia short was a clean trade, and I think Nvidia short was a clean trade. I should have shorted Nvidia again towards the end of the day, but for some dumb reason, I did not. It was a very, very, very clear trade. For some reason, I did not. Right. And then we talked about SPX. What else? What else we did today? I played some TNA to the upside, but that was not a big trade. AMD was a big trade, SPX, and I think if you took Qs instead of SP SPY trade, Qs went even, I think even faster, almost there. But towards the end, I think Qs pushed to the downside. RUT is still an outperformer given the conditions. I think for RUT, we were looking for a downside. Not much by a lot, but still we were looking for a downside on RUT, and this is what is happening with RUT. If it breaks here uh, to the upside, I think it will go test this number, 2080 or something tomorrow, and it should push down from there about here, 2062. And if this breaks, then we're looking for 2054, and this should be a bounce for RUT. Ideally, what should happen is RUT has to come back down here, about here, 2036. And now let's go back to, I'm still holding this thing. Should have dumped it, but yeah, I'm still holding this. VIX. So uh, we were looking for VIX to push into this number, right? So this was the range we were looking to play, well, VIX, about from here. Where is that? Right here. This was the range we were looking to play VIX, right? About 29, 20, whatever this line is, and to the bottom, whatever this line is. And again, I keep referring. I don't numbers don't really matter to me. These lines matter to me, right? So the 200 between the 100 and 200. This was the range we were looking to play VIX from yesterday's charting. So the moment it broke out of this, then now we should be looking for something else. Most likely, this is where it is headed. If it broke above that, and I don't know if it's, yeah, it is still sitting above it. So it broke above it. So now we're looking for a push into 22. Um, quite a quite a dramatic change of events. This is a big doji all the way from here to here. And then let's see how the weekly looks like. Give me one quick second, guys. So out here, I think it pushed above this number today, 2148 something. So highs were 2148. So it pushed above this. That's good. That is good. So I think volatility right now is trying to go back to its mean, right? And I thought here it would stop 2097. This is where I left today, around here, 2090 or something, somewhere around this number. So I left the trading today here. And when I saw this thing pushing above 21, then I went short again. Because if we knew that if it clears here on its 200, and it's going to go test its 8. It hasn't tested its 8, it is testing its one standard, but I think it will push in here to test 2168. Let's see how that plays out. And the momentum is starting to build up. This has been a pretty decent downturn here for VIX, uh, almost cut in half. So it is coming back up. That's a good thing. And if it doesn't get rejected at 2163, whatnot, uh, then here is where this is headed, 2383. If it doesn't get rejected here, this is where it is headed. If it gets rejected here, which looks like it did, then most likely it will come back down to 2097. We could look for a bounce here, but then if it breaks below here, then we are looking into 2067 and a push below there. So that's VIX. Yeah, doesn't it? It's not really looking very promising. It is not. VIX is not really looking very promising. But here the 8 over 21 happened. That is still intact until that scenario changes. 8 8 below 21. Until that happens, I'll be still rooting for VIX. And the moment that happens, it comes back below 8 below 21, then I'll be looking for downside on VIX. So this is okay, but this doesn't tell me that market's going to go push down or something like that. It's still not there until I see VIX push above this number. It has a lot to do now. So it has to clear this number. Right now it's unable to do that, so it has to clear this number and then push into probably about here 2380. And the 21 is sitting about here. I think the mean will keep pushing down. By the time it starts a push here, the mean I think will come down to around 2380 or something. Right now, even if not there, the mean is sitting at 2688. I don't believe VIX has enough momentum to push all the way till here. So I think the mean will keep coming down, and at least let's see tomorrow if 8 crosses, which is around 2173. If 8 crosses, then we are looking for a push into 2379. So this is where I will go long the markets again. If in fact VIX pushes up into this number, this is where I'll go long the markets. Usually 100 is not that big of a resistance. Like 200 or 50, usually 100 is not that big of a deal. So it might touch there, and it might push down a little bit, taking a bit of a breather. It actually does, then it will resume higher. So let's see how that plays out. Momentum is starting to build up, but there has to be enough reasons for VIX to kind of take off. But I don't know. I don't see any reasons as of now, or rather, institutions. I see plenty of reasons for VIX to be mad, but seems like institutions are not seeing the way that not seeing what I'm seeing. So what do I know? Institutions have more data, so they probably know better. So uh, let's see how institutions behave about VIX around 8. My expectation is the first touch will get rejected, and if it comes back again to touch this number, then most likely it will push up into 2370. And let's take a call here. What happens? And this is still not a doomsday scenario. It's just about 23, 24. Uh, cool. So, and then let's go about futures. Futures back up again. That's good. Yesterday there was a doji, and to the downside, we were looking for a touch of 8, broke 8, it hit into its, sorry, touch of 5, broke that, came right back into its 8. So usually the 100 is just a breather spot or something like that. It doesn't, 100 is not really a viable reversal spot, maybe a bounce spot, but not a viable reversal sort of a spot. So if it clears that, then it is hitting 8 around 45.31. Most likely it will break that, and we should get one more purple bar here around this SMI. And even though even though the price is coming down, this one is still going up. See that money flow index is still going up. So there are some buyers around here. That's what this is suggesting. If it pushes down, this is where it, if it comes down to 44.78, this is where it will bounce, a solid bounce here. 44.78. And let's see if we can put that about here. 44.87. This is, if it comes to 44.78, then I think the actual SPX will come down to here. 44.80s, yeah, for around 44.80s. Then a SPY should come down to 447. So this is the scenario to the downside. And of course, this will not happen in a straight down line. First, it might actually bounce here tomorrow, just like the futures are. Yes, this is where did we close? About here, about here. We close about here. Market pushed down after that a little bit further, and the futures are coming back to where we closed. And futures are getting into a squeeze here on the lower time frame. Oversold, sorry, yeah, oversold. So, and it hit a major moving average right here, right? And if I can open up SPX, right about here. So this was a line in the sand, the 50 and 44, 40, 44, 45, 50, and then a push down into, this was overkill. So I think this was because the futures were coming down. Futures needed to find a spot to bounce. I think that's why it pushed down that hard. But even, it had to stop somewhere around here, 44.40. But it did actually come down to the 8. Uh, so, and at the same time, the futures were bouncing around here, right? So this was a clean. I was not looking at this one. I was not looking at this one towards the end of the day, and then obviously it bounced tomorrow. So based on the futures pushing up tomorrow, SPX will also open a little bit higher from where it is. So I think the mean is sitting about here, 45.98. So to the upside, if this bounce is if it's a good enough bounce, first, okay, so 45.30, first bounce should put us around 45.50, 20 points to the upside on SPX right away. If if it doesn't open here, then we'll look for a bounce here, 45.50, and if that clears, then we'll look for a push into the 45.72, and probably 45.79 to 45.80. This should be it. I don't think it's going to go beyond and test the 4600. So an 8 below 21 just happened here. And let's see if it actually holds 8 below 21, or if we get a reject of 8 below 21. That is yet to be seen. But I think tomorrow, bounce has to come. 45.50 is a bounce spot, or rather, bounce into. 45.50 it will bounce into. So 20 points. So 2 points on SPY almost. Let's see how that works out. And I don't really have a. Uh, I don't really have stocks to trade around tomorrow. Uh, I haven't uh, I haven't come across any interesting setup which would be like a real banger right at the open, if you will. This looks good. MSFT looks good. If, again, the market will open and push up into this number here, 14,297. This is for Nasdaq. So we are looking at about 70 points rally on 80 points rally on Nasdaq right out of the open. So Microsoft will be one of the prime beneficiaries of that rally. It has pulled back enough. I think it will push into its 8 here, 310. And if that clears, then we'll push into 311.18, 87. So Microsoft seems like one of those really good setups. Microsoft made a doji. So now how would it play out? 309 to the upside, 309.77, which is the 5. This is the base case to the upside. And 307.23 or 307, let's say 307. This is the base case to the downside. And most likely it will push down first rather than pushing up. I think this is where it will bounce. 307, it will bounce and it will push into 309.90. Then if that clears, we'll push into 313 again. For now, based on this doji, based on what the this thing is telling me, I think we will look to push into 306.90. If that breaks, we are looking to push into 303 for tomorrow. So if you are looking to play passive for tomorrow, sell something around here, or maybe around here, 300. And if you're looking to sell the upside, probably sell around the 315. Uh, that would be the passive play because tomorrow is expiration, right? So tomorrow is Friday. That will become much easier to play the passive trades. But for active trades, to the downside, this is where I'll look for a bounce, 306.70 bounce, and 306.20 to 306 out here. This is the area it will bounce. And if that bounce sustains beyond 309.60, we'll look for 313 again. But if that fails, we'll push into 303. This is the number. And 303.50 somewhere around this number. This is a guaranteed bounce again. And it's starting to come down. This is starting to come down. Hopefully, we'll get another purple bar here. That's my expectation from Microsoft. This is one of the ones that I'll be playing right out of the gate. Then this one. So this is still trying to hold on to its eight. It's still trying to hold on to its eight. I don't know why it's not going down. Ideally, given the technicals, I think after this works itself out, then I think it should come back down to here at least 2.27, and if that breaks, it should test 2.227. Let's see how that works. EDC dying. Yeah, yep. I think I saw that somebody sold a bit of BTC. Right. So and besides that, we got Tesla. Let's see, Tesla did not actually come down to its five. So tomorrow, very good chance that it will come back to its five. So we got one and two pale green bars in a row. And just a matter of this thing coming down now. The money flow index, the moment it starts to come down, we have a crossover just about there. So let's see how this plays out. And I think if it touches here, it will bounce 1070 area bounce. And then if that breaks, then we're looking for it to push into this number, somewhere around 1042 or something like that. But this is a big if. Right now, Tesla looks very, 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 very strong. So watch out for that. Bounce here and that breaks, then we go nuts with Tesla shorts until 1040. And that breaks or that pushes below there, 1028. And hopefully, we'll get a pullback into 980. And this should be a good bounce area. And mean is sitting somewhere around here at 920. So it has left its mean in a very meaningful manner. So I think it should come back down to at least satisfy the mean, even if not all the way till here, maybe somewhere around the first standard deviation, 1028 or something like that. So this is my expectation from Tesla, but I'll be very cautious to play Tesla right now. And seems like there is the Tesla deliveries number coming up over the weekend. So you wouldn't have any control over how to play that game. So if you are in a position, or if you are holding a position through the weekend, which most likely I will hold a short position through the weekend, but I'll be hedging my short position with calls, right? So this is the way I'll be looking at this. So I'll be having a short position, then I will sell puts somewhere around here, and then use that proceeds to buy puts somewhere around here, and then I'll look to sell calls somewhere around probably around here, and then use those proceeds to buy calls somewhere around here. That's the plan with Tesla. Let's see how this plays out. That requires quite a bit of capital. But let's see how that plays out. Uh, can you check now? There's a gap in Tesla Dorth on weekly 1015 to 1050. That is nice. 1015 to 1050 on the weekly. Let's see. I'm typing weekly. Look at that. I'm typing weekly. Tesla. All right. Gap on the regular candle. So this is the one that we're talking about. I'm assuming 1015 is here, somewhere around here, to 1050, somewhere around here. This is the gap Hutch is referring to. So this needs to be filled according to Hutch.
No,
Cool.
it's
Then
from the top of that wick. It's not from the body. It's from the wick, wick to wick.
wick to wick. So
Yep,
wick is
it's a
here,
wick. Yep,
1044,
yep.
and then wick is about here, around 1041, or let's say 1040, rounded up at 1040, and the wick is here at 1053. So that seems like a good bit of gap. 1040. Even if it comes down to 1040, I'll be okay with that. So, and then it will be easier for me to manage this trade, my short trade on Tesla. Let's see. Here is a five weekly. What? So on the regular candles, the five is here around the mean,
Mm-hmm.
around 969. Then why is it running so high? This is not how it should be, right?
No, it's because
Last time,
you use HA candles. It'll be different with HA candles.
what candles?
With your Heiken-Ashi candles, it's different. Watch.
No,
I'll
this
show
is
you.
regular candles.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
are
I know.
regular candles.
I know, but
So,
everything changes with the between the regular candles and the Heiken-Ashi candles. All your moving averages are
yeah,
different. Your super trend, everything.
right, right, that's true. But you see the moving average here, it's five.
Mm-hmm.
Five is here, and the price is here. This is not acceptable. Last time, when you see the five is here and the price is here, came right back down to five. So you have to have this five. So let's see if we can plot. Where is that? This one. Even the three is here. This is not acceptable. This is just not acceptable, and it has to come back down. There's a Heiken-Ashi three, probably somewhere around here. So that's not how it's supposed to work. Wow, I did not notice that. So the five is here. This is crazy stuff. All right, so most likely, so to the upside, 1160. This upside is still intact. Uh, as of now, this upside is still intact. So if delivery numbers come in better than expected, then we'll hit 1170 somewhere around that. If not, probably it will come back down. The mean is here. This is crazy stuff. And for Heiken-Ashi candles, and let's see, five is somewhere around here. So 955, and still this is not acceptable stuff. So the downside 1067 should be some sort of a bounce, and if that breaks, this is where it is headed. The mean is about here. I don't think it's going to go back to the mean. But let's see. And this is not really meaningful right now as of where things stand. Because the momentum is still to the upside and whatnot. Just a bit of good news about delivery numbers, and it will push into this number 1166, 1170. But here, if you're trading this one, here's where it is. And Apple actually did the right thing and came back down. You're looking at Apple. This is the same scenario. Apple did the right thing, came back down to its five, and most likely it will go back down to its eight. But Tesla did not. Tesla did not come back to its five. Second day in a row, it is leaving its five. So it has to come back down to its five. Now the question becomes whether it will bounce or will it push down to its eight. So knowing Tesla, first thing it will bounce. And if the market catches rally based on Apple pushes Apple bouncing from this eight, and most likely Apple will bounce from its eight around 173.40. It will bounce from its eight. If it comes down all the way till here, Apple will bounce from its eight. Then Tesla probably 1070, and then if it bounces here, uh, well, It's not predictable right now, but this is where we're expecting a bounce. If that breaks, then Tesla should come down to its 8, that is sitting at 1040. And if this happens, then a bounce here, and I'm expecting this bounce to be ephemeral, then a push down into this number, 983. This is the expectation. Actually, this was the first calculation when I went short, when I held my short last week, for it to come back down to, probably around here and then break below and test its 8. That was a calculation. But then that stock split news came in and this thing skyrocketed. So got screwed on this one. But yeah, and that's what that happened. And what's FB? This is the other one that I was looking for. Same scenario like Apple, right? Apple and FB are in the same boat. Most likely a touch of 22, 21.30 tomorrow. And if it breaks here, first we'll look for a bounce here. This will be a clear bounce here. And how far will that bounce go? Most likely it will head into 224 or something like that. Then we'll look on the lower time frame as well. And here, if it bounces, and it will be a bounce here. But if it breaks here after the bounce, it will come back and test this number again, just like AMD did today. And it comes right back down here. It will test this number, 217 to 216 range. This is the range it will test again. And this will be very interesting to see. So NVIDIA is on the short list, Facebook is on the short list, and it will all depend on Apple bounce around this number, or even if it can come into this number and clears this number, then we'll look for an upside. Let's see, snow. Then glitch in the matrix. You love it when Dot gets annoyed at stocks disturbing the text. I have a couple of those out every day. Who disobeyed? Yeah. Snow. Let's see, snow. Things in context. MSFT. Again, everything is the same boat. No. Let's see. Let's see if we can. So this is a clear short here. Amazon is a clear short into 32.42. And if that breaks, Amazon will push into 32.18, and most likely that will break. Amazon will push into 31.77. And this is the base case for Amazon, 32.40, right? So this has to happen for Amazon. To the upside, 32.84, and it should stop somewhere around here, 32.86, somewhere around here. It should stop and again start to push down. So the base case to the downside for Amazon is 32.40. Base case to the upside for Amazon is 32.84. This should be a very easy trade to make. And similarly with Apple, upside 175.30, downside 173.30. Again, this will be a very easy trade. Same with Microsoft. 309.29 to the upside, and to the downside 307. These three trades, and also Facebook, if you can get Facebook, this will also be a very easy trade. Very easy trade. To the upside, it's capped at 224.35. To the downside, 221.40. This is the range right at the open. This is what it will be played within. And I'm pretty sure Google will also be the same thing. And let's look at Netflix. And I think this is where Netflix is headed, 371. Probably it will break it and push down into its mean. The other one that I wanted to trade is, I kept forgetting that thing. Lulu. This is the one I wanted to short today. It just slipped out of my mind. It was a clear short. It was a very, very, very clear short. Right about from here to here. And now tomorrow, I think it will try this number again, but it will fail, and then it will come back down to here, 352, around this number. Lulu. So I'll be looking to short Lulu tomorrow. And then there's another one, Sharp. Oh, darn it. Why did I not short? This was a clear short, man. This was a clear short right about here. And I think yesterday we were looking for 8, and it came back down to 8, and now it came back down to 21. Ah, should have shorted it. Right, so this is again a very simple trade. The upside 682, 70, somewhere around this number. The downside 665. Most likely it will push to the downside. That's the expectation. And if it breaks above 682, then we are pushing into 695 again. This is a very easy, not easy. Let's say this is a very clean trade. Technicals are very clean. It's now starting to uh, pick a direction which is most likely to the downside, but just in case it pushes upside, then this is what you want to play. 682, a clear push above 682, then it is heading into 694. So watch for sharp. And then I think snow said no, no, starting to come down. If we can get one more push to the downside, I think it will come back and test 227 again. Then if the market pushes down, most likely it will push down, and then here 225.80, and it will be a bounce here. It will bounce around here 225.80, and based on this bounce, we can go for another short. It has to bounce it into its 8, or maybe into its one standard deviation, then we can short it again. Most likely it will come back down here 216, somewhere around here. Let's see how I want to see how it opens tomorrow. I want to see how markets open tomorrow. Oh no, this is not good. This is where it is headed then. 44, and after that, this is where it is headed. 43,750. And the mean is sitting somewhere around here. 43,047. Most likely one more purple bar here. So it will bring down a lot of things with it. Let's see if we can get. And that is a short. 538 and then probably 512. That is a short. I fucking shorted this thing, but anyways. Mara, this is a short for tomorrow. This is where it is headed, 2640. And then Riot. These are the stocks that people play most of the time. Like I wanted to trade MSTR like past 3 days, but I'm just unable to get in. I don't know why I keep forgetting to trade that thing. And this thing is particularly vulnerable, Riot. And most likely it will push into this number here. The 21 is sitting about 1967, and the others their 21 is about close there where the price is. For this one, the 21 is here, 1950. So keep an eye on that one. This seems to be getting resolved here. Oh, where is the 50 line? Here's the 50 line. Most likely this thing will come back into its 50 about here and bounce from there. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, sitting here. If it breaks here, then we're looking for 458. Yeah, we can play MSTR tomorrow. Why not? Why not? If MSTR breaks here, which is a nice support right here, and looks like MSTR is threatening to break that support. If that support is broken, I think MSTR will push down to 456. Might not happen tomorrow itself, but very good chance that first bounce about here. First thing it will bounce, most likely into 494 for somewhere around that. If there is no other indicator that is stopping it from bouncing on the 1 hour, then a push down will come. It is going towards 459, 460. A good 25 points. Even if you can catch about 5 points to 7 points out of that 20, 25 points, you should be Gucci. Take a peek at CCJ. What is CCJ? Corporation on energy minerals. Okay. 13 million. Why did it trade 13 million? Average is 9, it traded 13. Why? That's why some uranium. Okay, there you go. Gucci. Hockey game is done. Now I can actually join charting. Nice. Here, 3065. Cheap options, gap down to 2750. Wait for a smaller one beyond that. Okay. On the daily, where is the gap? Here? No. Here? This gap thing is super. 30-30 on hourly. 30-30 on hourly. What gap? Yeah, I need to improve my general knowledge now. What gap are we looking at? 37 on hourly, 317. 317. Up here. I still don't see any gap. These are regular candles. Nope. Or maybe here's a gap, I think. 2470 to 2512. Yeah, looks like this is the one. Okay. Then 317, 37. 37 is way too back. It's the new month now. This is what I think. But then if this is the gap, then it's filled. Okay. 90% probability of filling. Okay. Cool thing. Cool thing. What a thing to do. Okay. Looks good. 3%. 3065 to the upside. Most likely a bounce around here if it can come down 2850. Let's see how this plays out. Looking to short this thing tomorrow on any weakness in the markets. Looking to go short on this one. 4630 is where it is stopping right now. I think if it comes below 4589 here, and then I'll short it down to 4430. And with a bit of a luck, I think I should push it down towards this number here. But if the markets push higher, then I look for a bounce above 45, or rather here, and then push into this number 51 again. Again into this number, and if this clears, then I think there's a good bit of upside around 55. Let's see. Let's see if I can play this number. What ends up happening usually with and with me is, after charting, and then if I find one good stock to trade, like today it was AMD and Apple. So I was playing that thing. I think I made four trades into AMD and probably two trades or maybe three trades into Apple. So I'm getting stuck with those trades. I'm not going beyond. If I find a good setup on one of those stocks, then I'm just sticking with it. Why go find something else when you have a perfect stock to trade? I think that's I'm kind of getting into that mindset. Any other stock that anybody wants me to look at? We are Gucci. Let's see if it can break here. And then to the downside, this is the bounce that you want to look for. Google bounce 2777. This area bounce is, this will happen. This bounce will happen. It will be a good, nice size bounce into 28. Even if not, if we are looking for like good 20 points to the upside from here. Even if not, you can catch like 5 to 7 points out of it. You should be okay. But if this breaks here, then I think it will push into 2750. Most likely, this will be the case. 2750 has been sitting there for a while now. We tested. It will come back into this and test that number. Will it happen tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know. Google can move 50 points easily on a day, and it's not that far from, so 50 points from right now, it's about sitting at 2790. The 2750 is like, pretty much there. 50 points down, it will hit that. And Nasdaq, I think, closed about 9% down for the quarter, and S&P closed about 4% for the quarter, closed down. So figure, I think Nasdaq was about close to 20% or a little more than 20% year to date. Now it's about 9%, so not too bad. But it has to come back down, right? It cannot be like hitting that all the high numbers all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 days in a row. This is unsustainable. So if you get at least a couple of days red in a row, not too bad, not too shabby. The question is, will we get that? Or will we get that? The technicals are pointing to one more downside day, but let's see how this plays out. This is the bounce I will be looking for. I know not many people play Google here, but for the ones who play Google, this is the one that I'll be looking for. If Google pushes down here, if you're somebody who looks to passive, this is where you want to sell your passive puts and calls. Depending on the situation, you can sell calls around 29 or 28, 27. So that's the passive, and that would be the active. This line, the blue line, 200 average. Anybody needs any second opinion on any trade? Home Depot, I am in Home Depot. I am kind of stuck with that equity, but this time I have, it's a solid trade for me. Even though the price is going down, I am very well protected with my equity to the downside. I have puts, so I'm okay. I'm very, very, very heavily protected on HD trade. And HD, most likely, we're looking for 300. It did hit 300. And this is where HD becomes a little complicated. And this is good. So this is the reason I got into HD. And if if HD pulls a fucking Tesla on me, this is where it is headed. Or it happened, but I don't know. But let's see. The realistic scenario for HD is this was it. Right. So this was it for HD. It is supposed to be it. And if the market pushes down, I don't know. There's a good chance of it pushing down to 270, whatnot. But if the market kind of takes a breather, it will come back right to 314. So, but this should be it. And if it can push a little bit further down, that is okay too. But uh, and if market pushes violently to the downside, then this is where it is headed, 275. And if it does actually push to 275, then I'm not really protected for that. Uh, I'll have to take on, unless I exit my puts that I've sold around 297.50. I'll have to take on those shares as well. Well, I'm not planning to take on those shares, but let's see. Can it push down? Yeah. But this is the reason I got into HD. It hit this and pushed up, and probably my expectation was it to hit this and kind of get momentum generating from here, and then push up back above its 100. But let's see. There's no end in sight right now. It was nicely coming up here. The MACD was nicely pushing up. It, it happened, and it's starting to push down again now. Let's see how deep it will push down. But I'll look to hold on to this, and I have a dividend coming in, 1.9. I'm okay, and I have a bunch of covered calls, and I'm just based on those calls itself. I am actually somewhere around break even, or even though it has pulled back so much, I'm still at a break even because I've sold so many calls around HD. So that is still at a break even. If even a little bit push into 310 around the 5, I'll still be okay with that. It left at 5 on the regular candles. So anytime it leaves its 5, it needs to go back to its 5. Leaves its 5, it happened here, and it had to go back to its 5. When will that happen? I don't know. Right now it is testing the previous lows, which was about here. But then the situation here was different because it has oversold conditions here. But this time it doesn't have oversold conditions here. So maybe we'll push down a little bit further, and then oversold conditions might appear here. Then we'll start to push into this 5. By the time, I think 5 will come back down to 3 or 6 or something like this. And then we'll look for a push up into 5 and probably into 8. When will that happen? It might take a little bit of time. So by that time, becomes oversold here. I might have accumulated quite a bit of equity on this one. Costco. Let's see, Costco. It is in Doji here. So expecting price to actually come back to the Doji. This is retail. Okay. Yeah, one blue, and then probably another blue, and probably we'll see a purple. For now, the RSI is looking good. This thing is starting to come down, and then if average starts to push down, then we'll look for just a bit of downside like this. And most likely it need to come back down here, 569. I think tomorrow it should come down to 569, 570. And if that breaks, it should come back down to 565. And most likely, if the market comes down, which it looks like, then this is where it will bounce, 570 area bounce. How far that bounce go, I don't know that. Gotta figure that one out. Yep, this thing is coming down and looking to resolve itself. So let's look for Costco 577, and that should break, and Costco should push down here, 574, which is still not much. And then that breaks, then we can look for this one here. This should be a bounce, 569 area bounce. And if that breaks, then we'll look for 567 area bounce. I don't think there's a whole lot of downside as of now beyond 569, 570. So that is still a good 5 points. That is still a good 5 points. So if you can catch this move down here to even to, let's say here, 574 to 569, that is still a good bit, about 3 to 4 points. If you can catch this move from, if it breaks the super trend to its first standard deviation, this would still be a good move. Beside SPX, SPY, what else follows VIX? Well, mostly all the indices, you can look to play against VIX, IXIC, ROT, whatnot, all the indices. SPX, I'm pretty sure there has to be some kind of Nasdaq VIX in some sort of Dow VIX. We should be able to find those. Nasdaq put swinging puts a couple of weeks out be a bad idea. Uh, Not a bad idea. Usually that's how I do it. I am usually 2 weeks out, unless it's a given move. I'm usually 2 weeks out, even for a day trade. I'm usually 2 weeks out. Okay. So for tomorrow, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, uh, and again, I'll look to play AMD most likely. I'm not sure yet, but if it strikes to me, MSTR looks primed to break down from that super trend line. If it breaks below there, we got about good 20 points to the downside. Goldman Sachs 330. Okay. I think Goldman Sachs should go back down to around 304 to 310. That's where I think it will kind of start to push up again. All right, so let's stop this here and let's pick it up again tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock sharp.